Hello once again, it is us, the people who play games and you trust, to deliver slight opinions on games and things that rhyme with opinions. Okay, the Tartuffe spit is not going to last the whole thing.
No, I don't know
Hello,
if you have...
it's Club Flashpoint. Dale Flashpoint here, beating a dead horse of a joke that didn't even started in soundcheck. I don't know why I carried it into the intro.
Hi, I'm Faden Cross.
And I'm Uncle.
We got another game this month, huh?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You don't need to be sorry.
We do. We played a game this month, and it was a lot of fun. And that game in particular was called The Vale, The Shadow of the Crown, which you might have sussed out from the title of this episode.
I would hope.
But on top of that game, we also play other games because there's too many games. So before we get into The Vale, The Shadow of the Crown, we'd like to talk about other games we played in the month. Faden, why don't you take it away? What did you play?
I played...
Tartuffe is back.
Oh my god. I played a perfect 6 out of 10 game, 7 out of 10 game, Harvestella. It is a Stardew Valley-like, so farming game, not sim, but it's a farming game, but mostly the farming is an opportunity for you to improve yourself to do action combat RPG mechanics. You play as this mysterious person who is amnesic, because it's one of those. This game came out in 2022, so fairly recent. A small Square Enix published game. And you have to basically navigate this world of displaced time, it seems. There's a lot of futuristic skyscrapers in your medieval farming world. You have to help out the locals with their issues. But it's also a weird sci-fi game, so I'm going to just go right into it. Spoilers for Harvestella for anyone who doesn't want to hear it. Just keep hitting skip until you hear the music for the next game. So all of Harvestella's conceit is, hey, there's this guy trying to destroy the world, trying to make the star barren, as he says. You beat him halfway through the game, and everyone's happy. You beat the big JRPG villain boss who wants to end the world. And then you discovered, oh wait, the world's still kind of messed up. And also, there is this arc of humans from actual Earth, not our fake Earth, which is the moon, that was cloned from Earth particles. I find the American flag under the sea at one point, because that's the flag that they used at the moon landing.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So you gotta figure out a solution to, hey, do we let the new humans live, the re-Gaia humans, or the old humans live, the Gaia humans? And because it's a JRPG, you gotta save the day, reject fate, and just take control
and make sure everyone gets along and happily ever after.
Yep, it's a strange one. I really like its. I like how simple it is. Honestly, it's not a very high budget game. It's not this super polished, glossy nothingness game. It's this very... It feels like a lost PS2 game. It looks like a PS2 game. And it reminds me of Final Fantasy XII a lot, which I like. The levels are very open and empty. And there's just constant music that plays at one tone. And it's kind of wonderful. There's a lot of fucked up freaks. I like anything that's a religious order and somebody has to contend with their faith. Who doesn't love religious trauma?
Hell yeah.
And yeah, this is totally a game that you two would love. Especially you, Uncle.
Yeah, all I could think the whole time is, well, that sounds horrible. That sounds terrible. Not for me.
Farming Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Farming Final Fantasy. One of my favorite things is cooking. The cooking mechanics, so you have to harvest your ingredients and stuff, know the right ingredients, find these recipes, and the food is like the only way you actually survive through the world, or else you'll just kind of get destroyed. There's a strict stamina system. If you're out of stamina, you can't attack, and your stamina just drains throughout the day because you're just getting tired. Unless your belly's full.
Unless your belly's full.
Unless you're eating food.
Then you can go whacking and thwacking, get those enemies
All day,
packing.
all day long until midnight, in which your character gets very, very sleepy. Yes, I know you're very proud of yourself, Dale, for rhyming over there. Yep. Overall, just kind of like a fun, like, casual time. It was great to play on my Steam Deck at my work breaks or, like, lying in bed, just get a day in or two. I guess I'm trying to think who the Best Girl award goes to. Best Girl and Best Guy. Because also it like was a secretly like, hey, you get to choose a life partner now. When I like fully beat the game, I was not expecting that part. It was just, hey,
By the way,
you're friends with all these people. You're gonna marry one of them, right? I'm like, sure. I thought this was where it was gonna go, and then it took forever, and then I didn't think it was gonna happen. And I married the nice boy, Assel. That can't be right. But that's how it's spelled.
The nice boy, asshole.
The nice boy, asshole. He's just literally too nice. He's suspiciously too nice, but, you know, whatever. Best girl. Emo. Emo's great.
nice.
She's a not emo lady, but she sings sad songs, and she's a siren. Half, you know. Why not?
Why not?
But that's kind of Harvestella. I don't know. It's not really deep. It's not
7
really
out of 10.
complicated. It's, you know, just a kind of perfect fine time.
6.5?
Yeah, 6.5. Sure, that's how we do things here. We rate.
20-point scale?
Yeah, on 20 point. No. Wait. No.
If we go by 0.5s, 10 scale becomes a 20-point scale.
Oh, shit. Well, you know, that's not my business.
Anyway, too much math.
I'm not a math person.
Too much math for me.
Uncle, what have you been playing this month besides our Game Club game?
Not a lot, to be totally honest. I didn't have a ton of time this month, but what little I did play of something other than the Vale was Darkest Dungeon 2. because I have a type.
Traveler.
And I have a difficult time playing games other than the games that I always play.
Grimdark.
Yeah, Grimdark. I've got a vibe, and I generally stick to it. So I think I've talked about Darkest Dungeon the first before.
I think so?
Yeah, it's a turn-based dungeon crawling games, like kind of roguelike in some of its elements, easy to lose your characters. You're trying to build them up over time. Stress applies based on combat and other bad things that happen, and this stress can cause them to have a breakdown, or perhaps they'll overcome it on odds that I never ever seem to pull off.
Dungeon makes me sad.
Yeah, dungeons make you sad.
Who doesn't love gamified psychosis?
Yeah, it's a neat element. You don't see it in a lot of games, I think, especially games with party elements. A neat part about this second game is that your characters don't just have stress traits that affect themselves, but you can also develop relationships with other members of your party. So if two characters really hate each other, they'll have a hard time cooperating, and they'll have stat debuffs.
Can you ever make the ones that hate each other work to your advantage?
Who knows? I didn't play enough. It did seem like there were bonuses that applied to in some way when my characters started hating each other.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly sure there are ways to find characters that support each other. I just wasn't playing well enough for that to happen yet. Some artistic changes from the first game. The character designs are a bit more realistic in body layout, as opposed, like, it used to be a bit more stylized, a bit more caricaturized.
Yeah, the
characters' heads were as big as like half their torso.
Yeah.
And I thought it was. I actually kind of missed the old design.
It's distinct.
It was very distinct, very stylized, distinct. It was very itself. And now, to me, it kind of just looks like any other game.
Yeah.
It doesn't stand out as much. And although there's a bit more animation, it's not spectacular enough for me to care that it's not as stylized.
Well, that's a bummer. Is the narrator the same? I know the
narrator's
narrator's a big part.
Narrator's the same. Yeah, great voices. But I have not experienced enough of the story to know if I like the story as much. It seems kind of incoherent right now.
What's the story of this one?
Good question.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. The first one, it was very clear from the start. You are the inheritor of this cursed estate, and you're trying to rebuild it and explore it. The second game, you studied with the narrator at a time in a place, and you studied certain things, and he's sending you letters, or maybe this is a conversation you're remembering. Totally unclear. I have no idea what's happening.
So the narrator is an actual character.
I don't know. I could not tell you. I have no idea what is happening in the story. Huh. I played for 2 hours, and I have no idea what's happening.
Maybe it will reveal itself soon.
I hope so. Yeah, the game's okay.
Does it still play nice?
It plays good. There are more elements that don't, as of yet, feel like they've added anything to the game for me. So right now it feels looser. Not like the gameplay loop of the first game is really tight, easy to get locked into the zone. Like, okay, one more dungeon, and then I'll build up my characters, then I'll go one more dungeon, then I'll build up my characters, then one more dungeon. It was really tight. Now there's more.
But
there's
it
just
feel,
more,
yeah.
and it does another thing that kind of kills me in a lot of games where there's damage bloat. So in the first Darkest Dungeon, your characters start off with 5 or 6 hit points. And
low numbers.
Now you start off with 20, 30, 40 hit points. You start with those numbers, and I've just started. It's too many. It's bloat. Unnecessary. Yeah. I don't know why they made the numbers
bigger.
They almost moved it up a decimal point. And
bigger because bigger.
I don't know. I don't like it. I'm gonna keep playing the game. I like Darkest Dungeon. I just so far am not crazy about the changes. But who knows? People, I barely played it. Maybe I'll grow to love it. And it's
bad first impressions.
Yeah, maybe it's way better. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's not good if that first impression's like that.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah.
True.
The end. Dale?
I heard about a game and sought it out immediately. how was this game presented to me? I was looking at just some YouTube list of games fewer people have heard about. One of those like here's some games that came out this year that are underrated or something like that. And this game is called Indika.
So it's weed.
Dika, Indika, a girl's name, a Russian name. And it takes you on a trip through religious questioning, religious doubt, religious trauma. It's an adventure, I would say adventure puzzle game, developed by Odd Meter Studio and published by 11-Bit. You remember we did this War of Mine earlier this year. They published that. And this game takes place around World War II in Russia, starring the title character Indika, who is a young girl in a convent, and she's learning the ways of the Russian Orthodox faith, and how to, be a worker in the convent and contribute to the faith and the inner workings and whatever. And anyway, it takes a turn when we learn through hearing the narrator kind of take over. Indika says some stuff, and the narrator takes over, and then the narrator reveals, oh, by the way, I'm Satan, and Indika is hearing everything I'm saying, and she's got this great doubt in her faith because she can hear me, the devil, inside her head.
Oh, shit.
And you're like, whoa, this is, okay, what's going on here? And then she's about to have this communion, and she has this hallucination of this tiny little woman running through the mouths and ears and eyes of the people on the priest, and it's just crazy. Obviously, Indika has some kind of neurodivergence, and she's maybe having a dissociative episode or something.
Or on a lot of drugs.
Or on a lot of drugs that maybe they were pumping into the water. So she freaks out and like smacks away the communion, and they're like, okay, well, we got to send this bad vibes kid out on a mission. Here, deliver this letter to another church like 15 miles outside of our city, and it's the middle of the winter, and you go on this wintry hike and meet up with an escaped prisoner. And I forget his name, but you meet up with an escaped prisoner who says he is on a mission from God. He is hearing the voice of God. And so the rest of the game is Indika talking to, is it Ilya? It might be Ilya. And their adventure to find, they're headed towards this church that Indika wants to deliver the message to, which also happens to be holding the Kudyets, which is a reliquary artifact that it's
the key that unlocks the vault to Black Jesus that Putin found.
I don't know what that means, but we're still in some religious zealotry, and so it's one of those, it's just like a golden
St. Timmy's finger bones.
Exactly,
like
that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You kiss it, you say a prayer, you hope for a miracle.
I love having the gauntlet of St. Augustine or whatever.
Yeah. And St. Jessica's elbow grease. Yeah.
Right. Indika's like, I got to go smear St. Jessica's elbow grease on my face to get rid of this voice of Satan. And Ilya's like, I got to go there because that's what God's plan is. I'm hearing God's voice. Oh, by the way, minor detail. Ilya's left arm is frostbitten and like decaying, as this adventure's going on, Indika has this medical training, and she's like, it's like, hey, you're going to die if we don't do something about that arm of yours.
Wait, so Indika doesn't have it? It was the other guy?
The other guy has the frostbite.
Okay.
How Indika, running through the snow in nothing but her nun habit, does not get frostbite through this whole game is beyond me.
Well, she's hardy.
She's right. She's hardy. She's got
hardy
the protection
habit.
of Satan.
Yeah.
But it's a really good game that goes back and forth through conversations about, like, what does it mean to be faithful? Where does good and evil come from? Morality. Why do we do the things that we do? That kind of philosophy 101 stuff that I think Faden would nod their head at and go, sure, whatever. And
so, hey, philosophy 101 can be good sometimes.
It can be good sometimes, and I really enjoyed it in this setting. It's made in the Unreal Engine, so some of these scenes are very realistic looking. Some of the cutscenes are beautiful, just incredible. It's a very cinematic game.
You said it was a puzzle game? What do you mean by that? What do you do?
Yeah, let me elaborate. So you kind of start out living the life of a nun, just delivering a basket of goods to another side of the convent, or taking buckets of water and filling up people's water troughs.
Like, is that like gameplay?
That's gameplay.
What is
for like the first hour of the game, and then and once you get outside, you start hearing the voice of Satan again, and Indika starts having these arguments with the voice of Satan, and at one point you get caught in a cave, and Satan begins to laugh at you, and the world tears around you, and you see these red cracks in the earth, and the earth separates, and Indika panics, and she starts to pray, and the game prompts you to hold left trigger to pray, and you hold left trigger
to pray,
and you hold left trigger to pray, and whoosh, the earth comes back together, and the voices are gone, and you hear Indika praying. And I was like, this is kind of cool. What does this mean, though?
What a puzzle.
And then,
what a puzzle.
So it's like the environment separates, and you pray to bring it back, and like you gotta figure out the pathway between.
Oh, okay. So like
selectively dissociating.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so
there, and then there's
press
like a push the
left
box
trigger
to
to remove psychosis.
Yeah.
It's a lot of find the path puzzles. Like,
Okay, so it's not like heavy puzzle. It's not like puzzle.
No.
It's more like, where do I go?
You'll get through this
Let
game
me
in
pray.
like 6 hours or less.
Okay.
Yeah. And the themes are really strong.
Mm-hmm.
There's an awesome sequence. This is kind of major spoilers, I think. I haven't said too much major spoilers yet, but if you want to play the game for yourself, there's a really cool moment where Ilya is leading Indika. And again, I only think the guy's name is Ilya. I might be wrong on that. I should look this up.
No, it's okay. Keep going.
Yeah, so anyway, Ilya is leading you through a cannery, like a fish cannery.
Right.
And at first you're just kind of thinking, okay. But then you start to see, holy shit, these cans are really big. Like, the cans are almost the size of cars. And then you start to get deeper. No, you start to get deeper into the factory, and the fish, you go by a conveyor belt, and the fish are like the size of buildings, like 3-story buildings. Like, where are they getting these huge carp? And that kind of represents the sort of dissociation and sort of scale of trauma that maybe Indika is experiencing.
Or anxiety.
And there's also a very cool thing that I haven't even mentioned at all to either of you. We get flashbacks of Indika's life before she runs away to join the convent, of her living with her father. Her father worked on these really cool steampunk bikes that are in the game. It's not a true World War II. It's like kind of like an alternate history.
Yeah.
But anyway, her father was this mechanic, and we get to go into these flashbacks that are presented in really, really good pixel art. The game changes kind of perspective, and that's how you know, we're in a flashback.
We're in the past.
We're in the past.
We lost the bits. We're in the past.
Yeah. There's this funny kind of RPG progression system that you're collecting these points by doing the tasks, and then the loading screens start to say, oh, by the way, don't worry about leveling up the points. It means nothing.
No, wow.
And you start to, lose the points at times, and then you can get the points back. And then, super major spoilers, the very final moment of the game, when you get to the Kudyets, this religious artifact, when Indika finally gets her hands on it, she starts to kiss and pray and, try and cure herself. We're seeing, she's doing this in front of a mirror, so we're seeing the reflection of what she sees herself as, which is this grotesque, demonic-looking creature with multiple arms. And so Indika's praying, and she's like trying to make it go away. And
she sounds sick. I wouldn't pray that away.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, she picks up the Kudyets, and you're prompted to, mash button to shake.
Right.
You can just shake it, and But ding, 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 you get all these points. 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 I sat there for like 10 minutes just mashing the button, trying to see how high I could get it, and pausing, leveling up. When you level up, you get the higher multiplier. You get more points when you collect points.
Oh my god.
So it
For
truly
no
means
reason.
for no reason
That's
whatsoever.
amazing.
I was thinking, is there going to be a little achievement there? Who knows? There might be some ridiculously high number.
Or there isn't.
Or there isn't.
And they were right.
They're right. The points mean nothing. And then the game kind of Indika puts the object down, steps away, sees herself in the mirror as a normal person, and like then instead of silence, she begins to hear the world again. There's
So she
really
gets
really
cured?
good. No. I don't know.
It's
That's
weird.
not. It's not implied like that. It's kind of like it's implied like by the end of the game she's
Feeling
not as
better.
concerned about. She doesn't hear the voice inside her head anymore. At the very least,
So she got Satan out. I mean,
she got her.
from
Satan
the
out.
sound of this, it could also be literally Satan.
It could. The game's really interesting, really short. Like I said, you can beat it in about 6 hours. The music, they play with sound in a very interesting way. That when Satan is kind of narrating, we'll get this weird sounding, like a kind of almost tension building, discordant. What's going on, and then when we get the flashbacks, it's really cool, kind of chiptune-y stuff. There's a nice little jump on a frog puzzle moment where it's rhythm based. You want to jump on the frogs in a certain rhythm, and the music is the rhythm. And so I was picked up on it right away. I was like, ace. I had so much fun with this game. I played it in the native language in the I don't remember if it's Russian or Ukrainian that it was recorded in. That's an important distinction. But I played it in that traditional. I think it's Russian. I think it's recorded in Russian language, and with subtitles on. And it felt very cinematic. Had a lot of fun. Very immersive. Very good game. Indika, Indika. I think I've rambled on enough about.
It'll be in the episode notes too.
Yeah, I really liked it. I don't want to play it again. I want to play it again in English to see what that.
See how the dub is.
Yeah, the dub. I started in English, and the dub was kind of weird British accents, and that felt like this is a Russian game. What are we doing? Anyway,
Man, should we talk about some weird British accents and get to our game club game for the month? Yeah, so this month we played The Vale, Shadow of the Crown, and as always, we like to do an elevator pitch here.
we sure do.
I think I haven't done one in a minute. I don't remember how it's been.
I don't remember either.
I know I did the last one.
Well, yeah, let's do me. Who wants to time?
Okay.
Who wants to time me?
I will on my fancy new watch.
Yeah, we like to do 30 seconds on the clock. We gotta pitch this as if we're giving an elevator pitch about the game.
On your mark,
Oh yeah,
get set.
I'm set.
Are you set?
Yep.
Okay, go.
So when we think about video games, does the word video really matter? Like, if you really think about it, do you actually need a video? And you know what? Maybe we should try to make games that don't have video at all, because not only does it let other sorts of people play games that they normally can't, it's also inviting and refreshing to have a game where there is quote unquote no graphics. Because guess what? Audio is awesome. Audio fucking rules.
Time. As a music fan, I'm sold. Audio does rule.
So yeah, we played.
The veil, the shadow, the crown. The veil, the shadow of the crown. When you look around and you see there's a town, you can hear every sound. It's the veil and the shadow of the crown.
It's just Shadow of the Crown, not the Shadow of the Crown.
The Veil of the Shadow.
The Veil of the Shadow of the Crown.
The Veil of the Shadow of the Crown.
So let's get some overall opinions. Uncle, you're grinning over there.
Uh-oh, that looks like a grimace from Uncle.
Not a grimace, just I thought it was okay. It's
I agree with Uncle.
Yeah, I didn't dislike this game.
The first hour, I was like that. I was like that exactly. The first hour, 2 hours, I was like, you know what? This game's all right. This game's fine.
Yeah. This game's fine. That's my
overall.
Yeah, that's my overall take. This game's fine. It's neat, and I'm glad I tried it.
There was a moment for me when we start talking about story and stuff. I'll go in more in depth, but there was a moment for me when my opinion went from this game's fine to we're doing it. This game is more than fine. This game, I would give 8 to 10 out of 10. This is such a cool idea. This is such a cool concept. It is so well executed. I think that there's a lot going on here that can be unpacked by other video game developers for future expansion, future ideas, expounding, what have you. This is so cool. Everyone should experience this and take the ideas that are here and make more accessible video games, more accessible audio games, because, wow.
Yeah, for a game that is the first game of the studio, Falling Squirrel, didn't mention that. This came out in 2021.
Great job, Falling
I think it's a pretty... It's like, I would consider this game mostly successful in its purpose and my enjoyment of it. I'm glad I had decent headphones. That's kind of my thing. I could not imagine. Yeah, what was everyone's audio equipment for this?
I had a really nice pair of headphones. I will say, so like a problem for me, there's always some special problem for me. But this is just, I have hearing problems.
Yeah.
Like I do not have good hearing. I have very, very, very bad tinnitus. But I do have.
We should have maybe considered that.
I have tinnitus and hearing loss.
Damn.
But I do have very nice headphones, so that helped.
But not fully.
I have studio cans. I have great hearing. I'm a passionate audiophile.
Yeah.
This game felt like a walk in the park for me, and I had a great time.
I don't know what my headphones are. They're nice, though. I like them. I have a kind of, not the same issue as Uncle, but for me, I get overwhelmed very, very easily. And so I had a hard time when scenes had multiple noises, especially in combat, where they had multiple noises, and I couldn't process it.
I have that problem, too. But I do feel like that's intentional. You know, like, I think that's part of the challenge.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the experience. But, yeah, having the dual problem of just bad hearing and also bad auditory processing.
Yeah, that
made parts of this game almost impossible for me.
Oh no!
I truly there were at least 2 combat encounters that. Like, most combat encounters in this game, I breezed through. No problem. There were at least 2 that took me an hour each, which is absurd given how short this game is.
Yeah.
I mean, it became, I had to sit down, come back to it, walk away, come back to it. I just couldn't. It felt like that famous level of Battletoads where you're just pressing buttons. You just have to memorize and pray. Mm-hmm. I truly, there were parts that I just couldn't do.
Yeah, let's zoom out. I think.
What is this game?
First of all, I would like to say I picked this game because I tried it when it first came out. I was very interested in it, and I, for some reason, fell off. And I thought, there's too many games, but I thought, hey, when we're doing this podcast, what a good time to finally finish a game that I thought was fairly unique. I've never played a game like it.
Yeah.
And this game it's when you hear the term no graphics. I was telling this to a coworker.
That's not quite true.
And that's not right. I was like, there's like very limited graphics, almost no graphics.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, so like it's a text-based game. I'm like, no. I feel like that's people's inclination to say, oh, this is a text-based game.
Yeah.
It's not. What it is it's a completely auditory experience. Like, you position yourself in the world based on the sounds you hear. the screen just shows like particles.
Floating particles.
Yeah, floating particles.
Sometimes they're falling. Sometimes they do a really cool representation of the environment with these particles.
Yes.
For the visually abled people that play the game. You can see like the different colors represent, I think, different moods.
environments.
When it's raining, the particles will be just falling down. When you're in the wind,
some
it's
visually
represented.
impaired people can. Air quotes
see.
very limited. I think this does kind of represent that.
Yeah,
they're not unaware of light.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. This kind of like Alex could have that sort of thing, or
it might just be a replacement for the tactile sensations and smell and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Play as the title character, the
Alex.
princess.
Yes. Wonderfully voiced.
Yes.
Alex did a great job.
I actually did not like it at first, and then as I started noticing, so this blind princess, Alex, she's kind of subtle. Like, she's, like, extremely subtle and emotionally aware in a way I really like in a protagonist, where she can kind of sense, like, yes, she can get a little bit too hot-headed because she has that royalty in her, but she also is, like, very cautious in a way that I think is really brilliant.
New to her role, but not obnoxiously naive.
Right.
Yeah.
So her father has just recently passed away, and her brother has taken the throne, the new king,
Theo.
And I forget what is the impetus initially to
The
draw
uncle
her back?
Shipped off to...
The uncle is sending her to a castle in the borderlands to kind of rule.
Yeah.
And the uncle's like, hey,
Get some
this is
experience
your
there.
test.
And they're attacked. When they're on the caravan, they're attacked by an army of Odedan soldiers who are on their way, marching 500 miles to the kingdom city to launch an attack on the new King Timothy, who's being a dickhole.
Theo. Timothy.
You
in
got the
Nobel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like your entire journey is, I have to also cross that 500 miles as Alex to the city of Nobel to get back to my family. Mm-hmm. And
You meet, when the accident happens, as you're running through the woods trying to run away from the violence, you bump into, hi, I'm a shepherd and definitely nothing else. Don't ask questions. I'm a shepherd.
I'm a shepherd.
Call me shepherd.
Call me shepherd.
Yeah.
Abdul Rashid is...
Kind of reluctantly joins you on the way and helps you along the way.
Sure seems to know a lot about these barbarians. It's
crazy, weird,
wild.
wild.
Yeah, just like, really helpful to know all this information about the people who are fighting you.
He's from the borderlands.
He's from the borderlands.
He's from-
it's on the border of both sides, obviously.
Yeah. Friends, we're foreshadowing a twist that...
And he's a shepherd.
That if you don't see coming while playing this game, you probably haven't heard a story before.
Can I...
And that's fair.
Can I make an embarrassing admission? I was so engrossed and I was so focused on the relationship between them.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, and when it was revealed that Shepard is actually an Odedan soldier,
So
I was like, oh.
I think there's a part of it though where I think the game's very clever and it builds their relationship really well to the point where
really does.
it'd be wild if he lied about this. Why wouldn't he admit this to her before it gets revealed?
Yeah.
So like I at one point in my notes I wrote maybe he is just a cunning shepherd. Maybe. And I'm like, I doubt it, though.
I in my notes, before the final reveal of who he really is, I literally, a note of mine was, what a wasted opportunity for no one to lie to the princess about what they actually look like or who they actually are. Like, I was like, man, that would have been, what a wonderful storytelling experience we missed out on. And then, I was right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did feel like a buffoon.
This game is also an action RPG.
It is.
Which you wouldn't think, but
Skyrim, folks.
It kind of is Skyrim. But
it feels a lot like Skyrim. The combat, yes.
It's
that's a good way to put
slow like Skyrim.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I play a lot of action games. Yeah. This is probably one of my favorite combat systems for an action game.
It was solid.
I
really
truly think this beats basically any AAA game that comes out recently with unlimited money for graphics.
So there's positional combat. Once you kind of engage the combat scenario, you're locked into you can't move anymore. You can't move about the 3D space. And there will be front, left, and right. And you can use the back key to charge up a super attack if you want. And then when that's charged, send it to front, left, or right. Mm-hmm. You can block with WASD.
Yeah, you got a
And-
shield. You got a shield in one hand and your sword in the other, or weapon.
Because
again,
and
customized
also,
RPG.
Story spoiler alert: you get magical powers later on. Freaking what?
Those do roll. What was your guys' favorite magical power?
Shield. I actually didn't use magic very much.
I used the flaming sword a lot just
Yeah.
because it matched my playstyle a little better.
You were more aggressive.
Yeah, I think one big complaint for me is that no way to know when your magical ability is charged.
There is a sound.
There's a sound.
I never heard it. So
It's like a
hearing
little
impairment,
Yeah.
I never ever
It's very
heard.
subtle. It is.
Never
But
heard
in
any
your defense, it is
indication.
subtle.
It took me 5 battles in to be like, oh, I hear the sound now.
I wrote
And
that
could
note.
always hear
I
it.
wrote the note probably 4 or 5 times without realizing I wrote the same note. I was like, "Where the fuck is the notification? My magical ability is charged."
Yep.
I have nice headphones. I couldn't notice it. Didn't notice it.
I got overwhelmed so much too, so I get it. I no fault.
Yeah, I really didn't. When I did use the magic ability and when I leveled up the magic powers, I made sure to do the shield.
I only did shield.
Burst on all 3 sides. Are you kidding me? That's awesome. But yeah, I just used a short sword and
A short sword?
I stuck to
Yeah.
I stuck to the faster weapons.
fast attack is sick.
I
you
did
can attack
sword.
people on the upswing and they just can never hit you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did axe and sword. I like doing the axe and just breaking through defenses.
I tried the Warhammer because I like Warhammers.
Yeah.
But
well, of course you like
it
Warhammer.
was shut up. But I that was a disaster. The game became exceptionally difficult for me
believe that.
with a slow weapon.
I couldn't imagine playing any other
Yeah.
way. Just I guess because of the way that I could perceive
Yeah.
things. And it kind of presents this timing of, hey, you want to attack before you run out of breath. And while you're training with the uncle, learning these things, you can really get a good feel of, with the short swords at least, you can probably get in 3 or 4 swings before you run out of breath.
Yep.
And there's enough pause between enemies attacking you that you can,
Sometimes.
you can get them before they get you.
Sometimes.
I never died once in this game.
I died
did you,
quite a
did
bit
you
in
play
the...
on normal?
I don't remember what difficulty I selected.
Oh,
I
we
probably
both played
selected
normal.
easiest difficulty.
Okay, so we both played
'cause
normal.
I switched to the easiest difficulty for the one fight that took me an hour.
Yeah.
What
And
fight was that?
The raft.
That one was
okay.
The
tough.
second raft fight with
Yeah.
the pirates, the splashing
arrows.
couldn't
Yep.
could not hear the arrows.
Yep.
Period.
I had such a hard time
I
with the
would get
arrows.
hit with them, and I'd be like, "Well, where did that come from?"
Yep.
The
Or the axe throws.
Yeah, axe throws, couldn't hear them. Splashing totally threw me off. I think I was before recording, I was talking to Faden about this. I could very clearly hear anybody to the right of me, very clearly hear anybody to the left of me. In front of me, could not hear. I swear.
Really?
Like, it might, maybe just, it could be an auditory processing problem. It could be a hearing problem. The sound of, coming from both ears at the same time, it was, for me, felt like half volume of somebody just in my left ear.
I had that
or
too.
just in my right ear. And
It was always quieter to
Maybe
know when
that's on
someone was in
purpose.
front.
Maybe it really is harder to hear from dead on. I don't know. But like there were times, so many times while I was playing this game, where I'd get the sound of being hit.
Yeah.
And I just had absolutely no clue where it came from. And that it got pretty frustrating. Also, female enemies could not distinguish their sounds from Alex's sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Personally.
Really?
So I couldn't.
Huh.
I could not tell the difference. So I would hear an enemy being exhausted and think I'm exhausted, or vice
Right.
versa. It became very messy for
The
me.
raft was the first one I died in too.
It was the first one I died in, and it was one of 2 fights I died in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I found out my main issue though. I died 2 times. I'm like, something's wrong.
Okay.
I lifted up my headphones and I had switched right and left
Oh
on
my
my
God.
headphones.
Wow.
I
That's
felt so
important.
stupid. I was
Yeah.
like, oh right, I should check that before I put my headphones on.
That is important in this game, especially.
I played this on my Steam Deck.
Ah.
Great. I recommend this game on a controller.
Yeah, having no vibration via keys was not as
Yes.
having
As-
vibration would have helped me a lot.
As your health gets lower, the
Yep.
Steam Deck vibrated more.
Okay.
that would have helped me a lot.
So I could tell what my health was because there's no indicators. There's no...
Except for panting right before you die.
Right.
You start panting when you are at the very limit of your health.
I never heard that sound.
Or your heartbeat. Heartbeat,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah. Or something like that.
Yeah, Dale, you're good at this.
I was really good at this game. I felt so cool, honestly, playing this game.
It does make you feel cool.
So, I got a question for both of you. How frequently did you find yourself playing with your eyes closed?
A few times, actually.
Oh,
Never.
I almost constantly was playing with my eyes
Sometimes
closed.
that helped.
It really helped me to visualize what Alex was doing. It put me in that... It made me feel like Alex.
I was somehow... I did try it. I was somehow instantly confused if I closed my eyes.
Oh, man.
I don't know why. Like there's basically nothing you get, especially during combat. You get nothing for having your eyes open.
Yeah.
I was instantly lost if I closed my eyes.
I felt so cool. I would picture Alex kind of being circled by these vicious people, and for some reason, Shep's always got your back. Of course, you never have to worry about your back. But
I just imagine Alex is turning, but we don't see it.
That makes
exactly.
Chef's got
Alex
your
is
back
turning.
makes sense. I was
Chef's
for a
got your
while.
back.
I was like,
Where is it?
I'm just lucky, I guess. Like,
No,
yeah, okay.
Shep's got your back. You don't have to worry
that
about it.
explains
That's why it's
it.
just the three sides.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine like Alex here's someone coming charging up on the left, and she would duck and go zoom, 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 get like 3 stabs in, and then someone's swinging on the right, raise the shield at the last second, boom, counterattack. Someone's coming to the front, get the shield up, stab, and then you can hear the enemies drop their weapons too. It's really good.
The
audio
shades
is
messed
mixed
with me.
so well.
I thought they were the easiest ones. They were the ones that were the most clear. Just like there are different kinds of attacks were for some reason the most auditorially distinct for me, because there were several enemies that you're supposed to listen for. There's a distinct sound before a heavy attack, distinct sound between the
Warhammers fucked me up.
between a flurry attack.
Yeah.
There were some I could not tell.
Yeah.
What I had I just had to guess. Raise my shield, attack early. I just got to guess. But the shades and the zombies were pretty easy for me for some reason.
Zombies were the hardest for me.
Okay.
I could not. I was like, I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
What enemy type was the most fun to fight for you two?
The pirates on the water, I had a lot of fun with.
That one is fun when you get it going.
Thematically, it was just a lot of fun. In my head, I was having fun visualizing all of it.
Whenever we're on a horse or running, I
that
love
was
the forward momentum scenes where Alex just has to like run and block, which it just rules. That stuff's great. Especially the horseback. The horseback ones, I love those ones.
I guess just the regular people enemies.
people.
I don't know.
The Odedden.
Yeah.
The Guardians?
I thought this was moderately fun.
Yeah.
Like this.
You didn't have
There weren't many times where I was like, yeah.
I felt like that often when I finished combat.
I think there were more often than not. I was like, okay, I'm done. Yeah.
Well, the other part of the game is as you're traveling between cities.
Well, that's kind of the combat happens in between cities.
Combat
on
happens in between,
rails,
or from side quests.
or from side quests, which you find when you arrive to the cities.
Yeah. So how do we feel about how they do towns in this game? I love it. I love it.
I like, so basically you hear specific audio cues like a hammer on an anvil. You got to walk towards that sound to get to the smith, walk towards the sound of a mill or a tavern.
Or someone calling for furs.
Yeah. Something like that. It's okay. It's a way to do it. It's how else are you going to do it in this format?
Yeah.
There's 2 big things I want to say about it.
Yeah.
The number one thing is that it does feel like the best instance of this 3D spatial audio, and it really makes me consider what went into the development of this game.
Okay, yeah, I want to. Yeah.
Were there 3D props at one point while they were making this? Did they have a layout of the town drawn out?
This game was specifically made right away in mind for people who have visual issues. Visual impairment.
So this to do a town so well and to make it feel alive in the ways that towns do feel in video games.
Oh, almost no
audio.
town feels alive. This town feels more alive than most games to me because a Skyrim town doesn't feel alive. There's no.
I don't
wanna
know.
what the 3D representation.
The
of
sound
it
just sounds so much better.
This felt empty to me. Like I wanted more environmental sounds in the towns. I wanted more.
How's that capacity? So my brain was like, this is a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I did not feel like I was in a town. And again, this could be because my brain is very, very, very heavily wired towards visuals. But like I didn't feel when we were in the woods, often I did not feel like I was in the woods. Okay. I didn't feel like I was in a cave. I didn't feel like I was in a river.
Footsteps of the woods, and specifically when it's like a branch or leaves or dirt.
Thing number 2 I wanted to say was kind of on par with those footsteps and the sound design of being in the town and walking around. And there is a little bit of this town game mechanic that really kind of stands out of. This is a game mechanic. And I lose the immersion of I'm a blind princess. Because when you're in the town, you can kind of go, you can turn yourself radially and go ping, 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 ping. Oh, there's the blacksmith. Mm-hmm. And then more or less just walk in a straight line towards the blacksmith. Which game mechanically makes sense. You don't want to be like bumping into things and moving around all the time.
Now, there is a scene in a tavern where you do bump into people quite often, listening for the magical artifact.
Yeah.
And I do love that one.
That was a fun moment. But it's a moment.
Yeah, it's a moment.
And not... It's kind of goofy to me to be able to go, oh, the sound's right in that straight line, and I'm going to walk right in that straight line.
I think there's a lot
I think that's what I'm... Part of what... I was like, this is not... No.
I mean, like, there's a lot of...
There's no one in this place. Like, yeah.
Or there's no one that, like...
There's no one here. Yeah.
Or there's no one that's noticeable, in the sense, like, you're just brushing past people. Like, because we don't see how Alex...
Or everyone sees Alex, goes, that's the princess, holy shit, let me give a wide berth.
Or how some people... treat disabled people in general. Oh, disabled person. I'm just gonna avoid them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought the towns were incredibly charming. I had enough. There was enough going on all around me. Especially, there's an example: monks all getting drunk at the monastery.
I was just gonna say the monastery. That was my favorite location.
And the bell.
I spent a lot of time in that location trying to get drunk with the monks.
That's why it's just wild because these things just glanced off me.
Oh,
yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that happened.
Denise, the fur trader.
Dennis?
Yeah, probably Dennis. I don't know. Denise sounds better, right?
They say Dennis.
Yeah, okay, he says Dennis.
Dennis Cranberry.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Cranberry. Love him.
Never let it be said that Dennis Cranberry isn't a hero.
Yeah, did you all do the hunting quests?
Yeah, I completed all the quests.
I missed a side quest.
I didn't do all the side quests. I feel like I got by really well without doing any of them.
I did all of them.
I did everything. I did a few.
I really like hunting in this game. This is also the part where it feels like Skyrim. Just hold the stick forward very slightly to stealth, and then shoot arrow in front of you.
In front of you, yeah.
I thought it was interesting to include bow mechanics. I like the tutorial where your brother's kind of a dick to, I think, the cook servant or whatever they keep bullying.
Good. And then they direct you to shoot a pig that is urinating
on that tree.
Boom! It's your brother.
No, it's not your brother. It's like they Alex and Theo constantly torture this like chef's boy or something. Someone who works in the kitchen, the kitchen boy. I think it's like one of those situations that we hang out with this dude, but because we're royalty, we can fuck with him kind of legally, and they can't say shit. But also, apparently, bully to Alex, too. Oh, the rat catching moment.
Rat catching was cute.
She has the rhyme to catch the rats and get the sweets.
Because she had so much fun doing it as a kid, because she was the best at it.
Yep. I don't know, there's really a lot of good character moments of like, here's this person?
Yeah.
Here's this person?
The story does so much for me, and I think it kind of has to, because the gameplay is really good for what it's doing.
I don't know. I could play.
But the story does all of the heavy lifting for me. That's what kept me coming back. That's what kept me thinking about this game. I want to see what happens to this character, Alex. I want to know why Shepard's so dodgy. He can't be a shepherd. He's definitely not a shepherd. I don't know what he is, ignorant me, but he's definitely not a shepherd. I knew that much, obviously. I've seen narratives before.
But didn't expect it to be a dead-end and
so obvious
to have originally wanted to give you to the general.
So obvious. I didn't...
That's why he's so obsessed with keeping you safe all the time. Like, stop risking yourself.
I do love, if you do so many side quests, he reaches a breaking point.
Yeah.
Where he just lists out all the side quests you have done. Yep. Like, hey, I can't keep doing this shit.
Right.
I'm staying here.
Yeah.
I hit that moment just before we got to the main city, so for me, that felt more like a.
That's where it
this
happens.
This character feels a connection to Alex and
Yeah.
doesn't want to see her get hurt.
Well, it's more the fact he specifically listed the side quests too.
Yeah.
And like picking up that stray, I'm like, yeah, but she's a good girl.
Love that dog.
Love princess.
Yes, you can pet the dog,
No, you feed the dog.
and then pet.
I assume you pet it. Yeah. I don't know. This is one of the few instances where I feel the dog's good though,
Good dog.
because the dog also like has like audio cues of hey, there's enemies. And
Enemies
shit.
over there. Let's go fight them.
No, I'm just hanging back.
Oh, I
That
thought
dog is a coward.
Oh,
The dog hung back. Dog didn't help
dog's
fight.
got your back. Dog and Shep have your back.
Should we talk about like this ending though?
There's other characters. We forgot old Maggie.
Yeah, we can talk
Who
about other
introduces
characters.
the magic and the concept of the Fae.
Yeah, I
and
was kind of
hey,
gonna
there's
wrap
this
the
whole
Fae
undercurrent.
stuff with the with the ending too.
Okay.
So yeah, let's talk about the Fae.
Yeah, the Fae, the concept of the entities beyond our realm, the good and evil forces at work, pulling things beyond the veil.
Preparing for some sort of Ragnarok type event.
Some kind of Ragnarok type thing is what we learned that they're prepping for. So they want this perpetual war to go on between the Odedan and the humans and the Glades.
Well, I don't think they're all humans.
But they're all humans. You're right. I don't know why I was picturing
Glades.
orcs and elves.
Glades.
Orcs and elves
Glades
came
is
to
the name
mind.
of their nation, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, Glades versus the Odenans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Fae want all this death and destruction so they can have warriors in their afterlife drama battle or something. You never find out what.
No.
Yeah, what or why? You just know they want soldiers
Right.
for their Fae fight.
And there's also good Fae that help out Alexandra and
And old Maggie.
Old Maggie. I like how you can meet Old Maggie just like as a normal beggar woman
Yep.
and just she starts following
She
you.
interacts with you, and she leads you through some trouble and says, "Oh, by the way,
I'm
you
crotchety and
You
angry.
should come with me. Meet my husband.
Meet my husband who I don't see for
I
years
haven't
at a
seen
time.
him. Yeah, a couple of years. It's been a couple of years.
How do we feel about Old Maggie?
I loved old Maggie. She's the best.
Yeah.
She's the best character.
I thought she and her husband were the most interesting characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in this entire game.
In the entire game.
Other than maybe the Odedan general.
Yeah.
That guy.
He deserved to not die.
Oh yeah. So like, there's
Yeah.
the great like running through the like mountain pass while the wolves are chasing you, and then Maggie brings down the mountain.
Around herself and her husband and lets you
Oh.
escape and
Lets
gets
you
through.
escape.
And
Dude,
Alex is like, we have to go back. And Shep is like, don't freaking waste that sacrifice. We gotta go, please.
Oh, and I like the sound of like the avalanche.
Yeah.
And then it all goes out, and it's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, ooh,
Quiet for a second.
ooh, that's like I don't want to be in an avalanche.
No.
I don't think a game has made me go, man, I never want to be in one of those. Most games make me go, I could survive it. I bet if I snowboard fast enough, it wouldn't catch me. And so the game kind of like goes on this path of as you're traveling to Nobel, the capital, you get these glimpses of this Ordenan general and his seer, because you come to find out Alex and old Maggie and the witch are seers. They have
They
this.
can use the Force.
Yeah, they're like people who have
Enough
like
midi-chlorians.
yeah. I think
and eyes that don't work.
right eyes that don't work.
And there's
but-
the one boy who has the magical abilities, and it's not unclear if he's blind or not.
right
Yeah.
like it. From my understanding, it seems like it's like
Baker's boy.
The Baker's boy.
those who can't see tend to have an easier time of accessing it if they learn how to perceive around their world, but that doesn't exclude people who can see.
Yeah.
And like they try to, they just practice. They probably have to just practice in a different way, because even the husband like can see it and just is like, I have to use books and stuff to access this sort of information and knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, briefly touched on the baker's stuff. What did you do with the baker? Did you save him or did you let him die?
Oh, I left that shit to burn.
I saved him.
I saved him.
Yeah.
That's not my business.
Seemed like
I got out
the
of there.
Alex thing to do.
That's the thing. It seemed like the most Alex thing to do, and
True.
it's definitely a lesser of two evils situation, as we all love those.
That guy was fucked.
Yeah, no, that guy was fucked. So, but then you get this resolution with his sister and stuff. That's kind of nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I let him burn.
I like how the ghost side quest, like, hey, there's this weird ghost at the cemetery, ties in with the baker stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like how the side quests can like intersect and weave because this game's very focused.
It is, and well written.
And then,
and
then we get to the ending,
where the Imperial forces are the ones who are. I mean, both sides are bad because they're fighting a war they don't need to fight. But the bad guys, coded the Odedans, who are literally fighting a war to prove that titles don't matter.
Right.
That the invaders who came and stole their land and lord over it because of names and bloodlines are the bad guys, and that's you, by the way, your family. You're the Imperial. Powers that came, took their land, called them barbarians, and now claim ownership of it because of your family name.
Yeah.
And they're coming to stop you, and you kill their leader.
Yep.
And you tell them, go home to your families, this war is stupid.
And then they leave.
And then they leave.
And then they do like some sort of children of the world. They walk off into the sunset over the hills.
You're right. We shouldn't fight. Yeah.
They don't even say that. They just say nothing and then they leave.
No, I mean that's the vibe. I know they don't say that. It's just
it's weirder.
You killed our boss. You know what?
Let's
just not talk about it and leave.
Yeah,
dumb.
Let's all be fun.
Yeah.
Well, and my major thing is there's a point where old Maggie says you're gonna have to make a choice. Are you going to be a queen, or are you going to be someone who protects the realm?
Yeah.
And there's also this aspect of Alex is technically the firstborn child of her twin Theo, came out first.
That.
Yeah.
And the grandma is one of the most evil women in the world.
Yeah.
Wanted to kill Alex
Yeah.
straight up, but instead just decided to lie to the realm and say, no, it's actually Theo who's firstborn and should lead. And Theo is shown to be cruel. Burns all the crops for the peasants just to starve out the Odenans.
Yep.
And
Scorched earth.
Heedlessly drives into battle without listening to his sister who's trying to explain something.
Mm-hmm.
Just cruel to servants and stuff. But in the end, Theo sits on the crown is a good king.
Well, he sits on the throne.
He
probably wears the crown.
Sorry,
But-
you're right. Sits on the crown.
He sits on the crown. He wears.
He should
the throne.
sit on the crown.
Yeah.
Wears the throne.
Yeah.
Sit the throne right on top of his head while he sits on the crown.
So there's this cool moment at the very end where we see the end quote.
Yeah.
Where
Alex
there's the reveal that, Shepard's a no-deaden. No, Alex can't stop this war. Oh, boom, there goes the troops off to fight. And then, Alex
Bridge
wakes back up.
explosion. And then I really do like the vision of the future you get with the bridge explosion, the armies invading, and then you have to fight while the armies are coming after. And it's just so chaotic and overwhelming.
Yeah.
And just a no-win situation. And we forgot to mention the death mechanics in this game implies that Alex sees possibilities of the future. Yeah. And if you die, that was just a possibility.
Yeah.
Oh, I never died.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the game...
Did I tell you that I never died?
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay.
Doesn't it feel good? Now you're the one in position.
Yeah. Now I'm good at games.
Yeah.
How about that, Faden?
Yeah.
Huh? I finished it first, too.
You did finish it
I
first.
feel good.
But yeah, it's just weird because Alex just is an advisor to Theo to be a good king, and he's awful.
Oh, at the real end.
At the real end, yeah. I'm talking about the end.
When you kill the general of the enemy army, and then they just walk away.
Yeah.
They come pick you up, and
It's
Shep walks away and says, "I'll tell everyone I can," and then says this line that makes me cry every single time I hear him. "You see more than anyone else I know." I'm just like, oh my god, that's so touching.
I rolled my eyes so hard that I got a headache.
Oh, it's so touching.
I think it only works.
With her.
It only works because of the relationship they have.
Oh, it's so touching.
Because you're constantly dragging Rashid through all this shit, and he's always the pragmatic. We should just go. We shouldn't listen. We shouldn't help these people out. There's a baby crying. Who gives a fuck?
Don't mess with this magic stuff. We gotta go.
What are we doing? Another
Magic's
garden.
not real.
Magic's not real. But
and then instead of acting on the birthright, the brother stays in control. And
I thought you'd be given a choice.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
This game is not called Wearer of the Crown. It is Shadow of the Crown.
Okay,
Alex
bypassing
X
that.
in the Shadow of the Crown.
Yeah.
At the end.
Gag me is right, Uncle.
She's even like, I don't wear it, but I'm vigilant. I'm listening. I'm ever watching, and I've just got my ears to the ground for the freaking Fae.
But Theo is evil.
I'm ready to strike.
To make things better, Theo has to be usurped, or she has to leave the court and just walk the land, helping people out, which is what you do in the game.
What if
she should be doing that?
That was my hope for the ending.
Right.
Was that she would reject the... Because that's what it... Like, when
Old Maggie brings this up.
Yeah, Maggie brings it up. When the king is... And when the Odedan general, I mean, is like, fuck titles, this is all stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the whole point of the game was going to be... Yeah, fuck being queen. I just need to be a revolutionary among the people. The whole game is getting, relationships with people.
Yep.
And then the ending to me rejects that.
Yeah, or the thing that I thought it was going to do is what this game often does is gives you options, and be like, press right trigger to fight Theo and become queen, or scroll down and press right trigger to fucking like leave the court and go be a protector of the realm, be a protector of the Vale.
Sure.
Huh.
I thought it'd be those two options, and like it would give you an option because again, you keep being told you have to make a choice, and Alex is constantly making choices that you get to make as a player within Alex's bound of morality,
both narratively and in gameplay.
But then it doesn't happen for the end. The end just feels like, all right, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah,
let's call it good.
Maybe that's what happens studio wise.
And maybe
we don't know.
And maybe I would love for people to take this concept of like gameplay and stuff and just do more.
Let's get a sequel game where she did leave the realm and she's just adventuring around, saving everything.
Or more games that are just audio like this.
Let's get a sequel game where she's like acting as a court advisor and she's got to prevent Theo from being a total dickhead ruler.
I don't know if I'd want a sequel to this game. I think we can call it good, done and dusted.
Done and dusted with the Vale saga.
Yeah, maybe there will be
the Glade.
The Glade. But yeah, any last thoughts about that before we go into questions?
The music was...
It was all right.
It was all right.
I liked some of it.
There was a few moments that felt really nice and triumphant that I really enjoyed.
I wish
there was a moment, though, where I picked out the theme for... I think it's the theme for the Odedan. That is kind of this somber violin motif. That the first 3 or 4 notes are just Adagio for Strings by Samuel Barber. And every time I hear it, I'm like, you know what?
Why ruin a good thing?
It's very interesting. The soundtrack was okay, and I think helped carry the experience.
Yeah.
But overall, the 3D spatial design of this game.
I don't know how you make a game like this.
So incredible.
It is kind of wild. Like I'm trying to and the little I know about game development doesn't apply to this game.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what is this? Oh, the general kind of gave me a hard time.
The fight?
Yeah.
That one, I actually cleared that pretty easily.
Where like the general does something that makes kind of these whooshing sounds.
He does his flurry attack.
Yeah.
And he goes, hurrah, 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 cha 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 cha, hurrah.
I just kind of went snick, and a super fast stabbed everyone that I encountered, and they died real quick.
Nice. That's great for you.
You can go like 1, 2, 3 real fast, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm done attacking," and then you could go 1, 2, 3 real fast again, right as they're about to attack you, and they're like, "Oh, I'm dead."
Very curious what difficulty you played on.
Yeah, that does not sound like normal to me.
Because if you played on casual, then you were playing a very different game than we did.
It was rough.
Because when I played,
it took me like 10 to 12 strikes to get one person.
Yeah, that hour-long fight, when I switched it to casual, I cleared it in minutes. Like it was.
Did you upgrade your gear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had the best
I completed every quest.
Gear,
I had the quality arming sword, the super fast armor, and the best shield. Yeah.
I wish there were more sound puzzles like that one, crystal one. I wish there were more things like that.
I also wish there were.
I'm surprised there wasn't.
Different kinds
Sneaking
of
through
gameplay.
the camps were kind of fun.
Sneaking through the camps are fun, or like trying to avoid falling into the mountain area, and you have to listen for the wind rushing.
Yeah.
I like that. Or
more stuff
fires.
more stuff like that. I think would have immersed me more completely.
Yeah.
Because I think the combat sequences I just didn't feel in the space, and that's most of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still mind-blowing. This is like a first crack on this development team, though.
Great job.
Like,
Yeah, no,
that's the part
this
that
is
gets
a
me. I'm
successful
like,
game. Yeah.
better combat than most games I play. So yeah, let's get into some questions. Okay, so the first question's batch comes from Suzor. Do you wish that there were any extra achievements? If so, what would you add?
No.
Yeah, I think this game's perfect length. What parts did you find emotionally engaging and why? If you already touched on this, then please ignore the question. There's one part where we didn't talk about that I thought was emotionally engaging.
I think I know what you're going to talk
The
about.
uncle fight?
The uncle fight.
Not you, uncle, but the uncle.
Yeah, at the very in
Near
the
the
last act
Fight
before
zombie
the
uncle.
Yeah, before the general fight, the seer summons the spirit of your dead uncle, who has
Rip.
taught you everything you know.
It's
and,
Uncle's final game.
Yeah.
Didn't resonate with you, Uncle?
R.I.
Nope.
Uncle.
As a
R.I.P.
fellow uncle, you didn't care?
Nope.
It was good.
Didn't care.
A lot of these final moments did make me tear up. I like this game. The story was banging.
Follow up, anything they could have gone deeper on in the story.
More magic. Give me a Kamehameha blast. Give me freaking fire lasers.
Talking about the story.
Well, yeah, and then the story, to expound
And then the
upon
story
magic.
is about having a Kamehameha.
Yeah.
What would I...
More political choices.
More political choices.
You're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be learning how to be a queen, and all you learn how to do is fight. So
Or
it'd be
more
nice.
options to reject the political or dive into the political.
Yeah, something
Something that puts Alex in conflict of her duty and her desires.
Yes.
Whoa.
And finally from Suzor, what's a game you play when you're having a bad day?
When I'm having a bad day, I don't play games.
Yeah.
Yeah, the anhedonia prevents me from playing games.
The what?
Anhedonia, when you are feeling bad and things that make you feel good don't make you feel good anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recently it's been Balatro.
I'll get crack a beer, do some drunk driving in video games.
What games?
Either Grand Theft Auto 5 or
Euro Truck Simulator?
Forza Horizon 5 is a good one. Forza Horizon 4, Forza Horizon 3, Forza Horizon's good.
Have you
Also,
ever drunk drive and tried to play Euro Truck Simulator? It legitimately is an impairment.
I drunk drive into BeamNG, which is the physics-based one. Just fold some cars around trees. That one's pretty fun.
Jesus. That's horrifying. That just sounded horrifying. No
one gets hurt. It's a video game.
Right, of course, but it just sounded, the folding around trees just is a horrifying, I don't know why that phrase is always, stuck with me.
Yeah, it's vivid. Next batch of questions comes from Brower, friend of the show. Who is the best girl?
Princess.
Princess?
The dog.
The dog.
Or Old Maggie.
Well, I was going to say Old Maggie.
Sure.
No opinion.
Yeah,
Next
no
question.
opinion,
Do
no
you
opinion.
take fall damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
You
assume
fall,
so.
you die.
If you fall, you would die.
Yeah, like in the cliffs. If you fall, you die.
Yeah. Does
Yeah.
fire hurt you?
No, fire
Yeah.
empowers you.
Fireballs hurt you when
God.
the little boys throw them at you.
I will say the little boy's acting for being angry
Yeah.
sounds like the most realistic kid
Pretty
anger
good.
I've
Yeah,
ever seen in my life.
I will say some of the voice acting in this game, not good. That was good.
That
was good.
That was like, oh man, I've seen this angry kid before.
Yeah.
Like,
Can you pet the dog?
yeah,
Yeah, it's implied.
It's implied that you're petting the.
It's implied petting.
Is there a
implied
sound?
petting? My favorite category.
Is there a sound equivalent to frame rate? And
I
this is
wonder.
like kind of a physics question. Yes, it's called either bit
Latency.
rate or sample rate.
Oh,
And that's like not something we're going to talk about.
Not a
'cause
problem
we
for
could-
this game.
no.
Not a problem for this
Yeah.
game because
Well,
you got to have your.
Do you want?
computer.
I actually want to learn about it. Can you give me the brief rundown of?
I don't think I could do a brief rundown accurately right now.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Conceptually, it makes
Look-
sense.
look-
Your
look up those terms.
Your
Can you say
machine
it?
can only process so much.
Yeah.
Bit rate, sample rate, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Some
Technology compresses things weird.
Some headphones are worse than others, which
Yes.
could affect the way you experience.
Well, especially Bluetooth. Bluetooth will have sound
You have a
latency,
little sound
yes.
latency.
Which can really fuck you up.
And lastly, this is a question for Faden because you're the only one that did have haptics. What are the haptics like on this game? You briefly mentioned that there were
Yeah,
some when your health dwindles. or
Yeah,
something.
it just vibrates more when you're at lower health. That's
a good,
it.
That's a good question.
It is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I like.
It would have been so helpful to have a getting hit from the left, getting hit from the right, getting hit from the front kind of haptics.
There wasn't that.
I know. I'm saying it would be nice if there was.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Hilver asks, do you like reading up on how games you play are made?
Absolutely. I'm a nuts and bolts kind of person. I don't necessarily understand everything I read, but it's interesting to try and learn.
I like learning about development histories.
Yeah. I think the history is interesting, but I also am not technically knowledgeable enough for a lot of it to make sense when I do look into it. Also is asked by Hilver, if so, is that something you look up before or after playing? So do you look that up before or after playing the game? The history
I
of
always
the
look
game?
up after.
After, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like looking up before because I don't want to
Unless
spoil. Just I want to go in as not fresh either. I don't know how to describe this.
unless something feels very wrong, I'm probably not going to look it up. Like there might be a time where I'm like, what the fuck happened to this?
Right? Why is this game so weird?
Yeah. But if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it after.
Yeah.
Well, next month, according to our notes, we're playing The Veil, The Shadow of the Crown.
I'm
which
sorry.
Is an exciting game to. I think that's one of the first games made to be fully accessible to blind people, right?
I would
heard
I would like to also say I hear it has better combat than Final Fantasy 16.
Wow. Okay.
No, next month we are
No.
playing a classic. So we're bringing back Uncle's maybe taking a dip out. We'll see.
Probably.
Probably which fair. We are bringing back a special guest, Jake.
You know him. You love him. You've heard him.
Yeah, for his birthday month game. And what game did he decide to inject to our chaos cycle, Dale?
Yeah, this year's Chaos Cycle. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos Cycle at Club Flashpoint. We'll be continuing with Sonic the Hedgehog's second adventure.
Sonic the Hedgehog Adventure 2. For
Sonic
the Dreamcast.
Adventure 2 Dreamcast version.
Yeah.
Bada boom, bada bam, bam, boom. Live and learn, baby. Hanging on the edge of adventure.
I'm escaping from the city, man.
That's also in this game.
Yeah. Crush 40, let's
Crush
go.
40. All day, every day.
Well, oh, wait, does anyone have anything to promote? Shout out.
I like to remind people that the local library awaits you.
That's a good one. You might have a local school board election coming up this fall.
That's another good one.
Look into them. Look into the candidates. If your local teachers union does a screening and recommendations, that's usually publicly listed. Look into that. If that's the case, what they're going to do is they're going to interview the local school board candidates, ask them questions about how they support kids and teachers, and you want school board candidates that support kids and teachers. I shouldn't have to tell you that, but I'm going to. So look into your local elections.
It's always good to remind people.
Very important.
I have something not as important. You can follow me on Twitter at Faden Cross. You can ask me questions for the podcast here. Keep up on updates and whatnot. If you're hearing this episode before September 13th area, please send us questions for Sonic as soon as you can, because we have a
doing
quick
that fast.
turnaround. As fast as Sonic. Gotta go fast.
Meant to last. Jake's in the past.
Have a good month, everyone.
Goodbye.